Morning, everyone. Zach Long, lead faculty here for the Institute of Clinical Excellence's Fitness Athlete Division. Today's Fitness Athlete Friday, so I'm really excited to get to talk to everybody today. And our topic is going to be essential strength and conditioning equipment for the modern physical therapy practice. Before we dive into this topic, I first want to mention down here at the bottom of the screen, if you're watching live on Facebook, is a link, thebarbellphysio.com/ebook. My physical therapy student recently put together a great free ebook, 24-page ebook for physical therapists and other rehab practitioners that I think is a great resource for you to check out, where she dives into the 10 pieces of strength equipment that she thinks are essential and that need to be in more physical therapy clinics. So that is completely free. You can download that at thebarbellphysio.com/ebook. Now let's dive a little bit into today's topic. Which again is essential strength and conditioning equipment for the modern physical therapy practice. The physical therapy community and profession, we're consistently trying to promote ourselves as the movement practitioners, the go-to providers for people with movement-based disorders. And as we all know, as part of our typical physical therapy evaluations, we're consistently coming up with diagnoses that people are weak in certain areas and that they need strength and we need to improve robustness of certain tissues. And so in order to do that, we need to have a good understanding of modern strength practices. And if we look at what the American College of Sports Medicine says is necessary to create strength and hypertrophy changes, more strength changes with this number, is that we need to be lifting loads at greater than 65% of an individual's 1 rep max. So that means if an individual can squat 100 pounds, if we want to get them stronger, we need to be lifting weights of 65 pounds or heavier. Now, I've been very fortunate over the last year to be in a large number of clinics, probably over 20 different clinics around the nation, whether teaching my own courses or attending other courses, and 65% of 1 rep max. When I'm looking at the equipment in most of these clinics, I'm consistently saying that we don't have the equipment necessary to load people that heavily. Now, don't get me wrong, we can't always load somebody to that percent of their 1 rep max. But we're chronically underloading people, and for the most part, physical therapy clinics don't have the equipment necessary to load people. I'd say in the vast majority of clinics I went to, they didn't have any free weight that was more than 30 pounds in weight. Now, you can make an argument, that there are certain populations that will never get to needing to lift a 30-pound kettlebell or a 45-pound barbell, but I'd make the argument that there are a lot more patient populations out there that need it. So if we have a new mother that comes in and she's having some back pain and she's carrying her baby in a crib and we need to work on her being positionally strong to be able to withstand those forces, we better have something heavier than a rubber-coated 10-pound dumbbell in our clinic. And this is something that really needs to be addressed in the physical therapy clinic as a whole, because we need to be able to challenge our patients adequately enough to create adaptive changes in their ability to move and lift heavy weights, to be less psychologically afraid of moving weights. So we have to have much better equipment. So that's what that ebook dives into, is 10 of the best pieces of equipment that we can have in strength and conditioning. Today we're going to talk about kind of the level 1 pieces of equipment. If you came to me and said, Zach, I want to start getting better equipment in my gym or in my physical therapy space, I don't have a lot of money and I don't have a lot of space. These are the 2 pieces of equipment that I would first recommend for pretty much any physical therapy practice out there. The first we're going to talk about are kettlebells. Kettlebells are a staple in the strength and conditioning world, certainly a great piece of equipment to have in the physical therapy community because they're small. They don't take up a whole lot of space, so you can kind of put them in the corner of your clinic, you can put them under some tables, and you don't have to worry about eating up some valuable real estate if you've got a tight clinic. From a performance perspective, these kettlebells aren't super intimidating to a lot of people. So they look at it and they can't really recognize what weight it is. If I pull a barbell out, people know that that's a significant amount of weight for a full barbell. If I try to put bumpers on it, then they're really getting intimidated by it. Not that a barbell is a bad thing in the clinic, but a lot of times a 45-pound barbell and a 45-pound kettlebell, if you ask a patient which one are you more afraid of moving, they're going to say the barbell. So the kettlebell becomes a less intimidating way to load patients, and it's going to allow for a really wide variety of movements, from doing multiplanar, slow movements like a goblet squat to doing more fast dynamic movements like the kettlebell swing. We've got a huge variety of things that we can do. And then let's talk about a couple of the exercises that I really like to incorporate in my physical therapy practice using a kettlebell. First, I absolutely love doing bottoms up kettlebell work. So bottoms up kettlebell work is just going to increase the stability to bands, the rhythmic stabilization of doing certain movements, because putting the bottom of the kettlebell up is going to make it much more challenging to stabilize. So having somebody do holds or walks like this or presses overhead, it significantly increases the demand. And for me, in my practice, working with a lot of CrossFitters, I become the second opinion for a lot of CrossFit athletes who have shoulder instability problems. Maybe had a tweak to their labrum, their shoulder feels really unstable. They did standard PT, doing tons of rotator cuff isolation work, but they still don't feel right when they get to their higher level CrossFit exercises. And when I have them do some bottoms up kettlebell work along with some other stuff, I should do a future podcast on this, things tend to tie together really well. Bottoms up kettlebell work is just a great way to get people a lot of confidence in moving the joint or muscle or movement patterns that you're trying to treat. Second exercise we're talking about are goblet squats. Goblet squats should be a staple in everybody's rehab program, not every specific patient, but every clinician out there should be using goblet squats at some form or another. By having a kettlebell held right outside of your chest, that anterior weight makes it a lot easier for athletes to figure out how to get this anterior-posterior balance. So a lot of athletes that have a really kind of ugly body weight squat or ugly loaded squat, when you give them a kettlebell out in front in the goblet position, it really cleans their squat up a lot. But then you can also use that to do a lot of different mobility stuff. So I'll use the kettlebell's weight out in front to pull an athlete's knees forward to get them into some loaded ankle dorsiflexion. Or I'll let them use that weight to sit back further into their hips so they work on their hip mobility a little bit. A lot of different things you could do with the goblet squat. Carries are a great thing to incorporate with kettlebells. Just get people confidence in maintaining certain positions, work on building hip, midline stability, strength, etc. And they're just a great drill to do for some athletes that maybe you feel like, all right, this is somebody, we talked a few weeks ago about deadlifts or back pain, but maybe you feel like they're not psychologically ready to incorporate deadlifts in their rehab program. Then carries are a great way to build up a little confidence with load. And then we also have exercises such as Turkish get-ups or kettlebell arm bars, which again, kind of like the bottoms-up kettlebell drills. Turkish get-ups and kettlebell arm bars are two exercises that for a lot of athletes tend to tie together a lot of the isolated rotator cuff work that we've done prior to that, so that they then feel really confident when they get into these more extreme conditions. For my CrossFitters, when they're doing snatches and overhead squats and they feel unstable, when we get them doing some kettlebell arm bars and some bottoms-up kettlebell work, a lot of that instability tends to go away. I don't think it's probably from anything structurally. I think they just start to feel more confident in their ability to move loads and control where their body is and where loads are in space. So kettlebells, piece of equipment number one. Obviously, you can find kettlebells, as light as 5 pounds and up to 200 pounds. So it provides just a huge range of loading. And nowadays, there's even a lot of cool kettlebells that are adjustable. So you can even have one kettlebell that goes from like 5 pounds to 50 pounds. And that'll just give you a lot of stuff to play with in the clinic. A lot of great drills to use with everybody from your high-level CrossFitter, from your elite athlete, to grandma after she had a total knee or total hip replacement. A lot of good drills to do with the kettlebell. Piece of equipment number two, that if you come to me and say, hey, I don't have a lot of space, I don't have a lot of money, but I need better strength equipment in my gym, piece of equipment number two is going to be a suspension trainer. Suspension trainers are incredibly cheap. You can find suspension trainers out there, as low as like $60 from certain providers. You can find them a little bit more expensive. But the great thing about suspension trainers is they take up absolutely no space at all. If you need to, get rid of all the strength equipment in your gym, you can bunch a suspension trainer up into a really, really tiny bag, or you can have it hanging up and there's literally no space that it takes up. And the even better thing about suspension trainers is they're so incredibly easy to scale. So if you have an athlete doing a row, for example, with a suspension trainer, and then you have them positioned too light, you don't have to go grab a new weight or adjust the weight on the barbell. You simply just have to have them move their foot position so that they're then lifting more of their body weight. It makes it incredibly easy to get to where you're appropriately loading patients to create those strength changes that we discussed earlier. So rows are a great thing to start with a suspension trainer. I'm a big fan of face pulls with suspension trainers. We get athletes holding a suspension trainer out in front, and then they come up into this like 90-90 external rotation position to get some upper back strength work, to get some posterior rotator cuff work. Great, easy drill to do. With my CrossFitters, they can then go into their CrossFit gym, and if they don't have a suspension trainer, they can just do it off of rings like this. And then you could also use it for a wide variety of different forms of squats. So you can have an athlete who's maybe, I got a bilateral total knee replacement patient right now. She's really nervous about going through squat patterns. If I have her hold on to the suspension trainer, she then has a lot of upper body assistance that she can give herself so that she's not as freaked out by the squat pattern itself right now. And as she gets stronger, I'm just encouraging her to pull a little bit less with her arms. And after, a week or two of doing that, we can get her to where she's not using it at all. Then if we go to a more higher level athlete, we can use that suspension trainer and go into single leg squats, where we could put their foot back in the suspension trainer and we can have them do something like a rear foot elevated split squat to really increase the strength and stability demands of suspension trainer rear foot elevated split squats. So if you don't have kettlebells, if you don't have suspension trainers in your clinic already, I'd highly suggest you look into those because they're just cheap ways to get some good strength equipment in your gym. They also just don't take up very much space if you don't have a lot of room for equipment. But again, I want to really encourage everybody to check out this ebook, 24-page ebook that's free download at thebarbellphysio.com/ebook. And that's going to take you through what we believe in the fitness athlete division are 10 of the best pieces of strength equipment that you can have in your physical therapy practice. And it's also going to walk you through a lot of the best drills that you can incorporate. So this is going to be a great way to really beef up your therapeutic exercise database here and have some new good pieces of equipment and new good ideas for implementing with your patients to improve outcomes. So again, I hope y'all check that out at thebarbellphysio.com/ebook. Hope everybody has an excellent weekend. Great Friday. Take care.